Welcome, welcome, welcome. TBW Clips. I am Tyson. Today. Oh, something has happened in the Trump trial. A juror speaks, and something's going on now. There might be a possibility of a mistrial here. Let's take a look at this.
Welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. Thanks for being with us. We have a major update in the wake of the guilty conviction against former President Donald Trump just last week in his hush money payment trial, found guilty on all 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. What we want to bring to you now, we're getting this news in from a letter that the judge in the case, Juan Merchan, has sent to the relative parties in the case, and this is the gist of the letter. Judge Juan Merchan just sent this letter to the parties informing them of a comment that was left on the New York State Unified Court System's Facebook page, May the 29th. That's the day before the verdict. The comment reads, quote, "My cousin is a juror," and says Trump is getting convicted. "Thank you, folks, for all your hard work!" Exclamation point times 4. The comment was posted regarding oral arguments in the 4th Department of the Appellate Division, which is unrelated to the case.
Okay, so an appellate judge got this information. It wasn't an actual juror, but a family member of a juror posts something saying that Trump is going to be convicted before the juror came down with their decision. So I guess that's implying that they already made up their minds before deliberating, or that's what I'm guessing. And so I guess they were supposed to wait until after the judgment came down. So they put that out there. The cousin of the juror put it out there before it was supposed to be out there. And because of that, I guess that's an issue. Let's keep going.
So I would say, and I think it's safe to say, this is quite significant. According to our sources at Fox, a Trump campaign official telling Fox News Digital, quote, "We are investigating the matter." We're also learning from our sources at Fox the comment appears to be deleted from the Facebook page. A court spokesperson says this to Fox, quote, "As appropriate, the court informed the parties once it learned of this online content." So I want to put up the tweet here of the letter. I have the letter in my hand. Molly Creighton.
So I think you're not supposed to, I guess the juror isn't supposed to say anything to anyone until it's over, until the case is over. But because the cousin came out with something that indicated that the juror did say something before the verdict was initiated. So the cousin should have waited, even though the cousin had the information, they should have waited until after the verdict and then put that out there. So I guess they tried to get some breaking news, right? It possibly backfired.
She's a court reporter for the New York Daily News. And that's the quote from the Facebook post. "My cousin is a juror." It says Trump is getting convicted. "Thank you, folks, for all your hard work." All right, we got to bring in Jeremy Rosenthal yet again to talk about this. I'm sure he has lots of thoughts about this. Okay, Jeremy, a lot of people are talking about online this very comment saying, okay, conviction, it's going to be vacated, it's going to be overturned, this was a mistrial, they don't even have to appeal it because of this very comment. Is that accurate? Is that how these things work here?
It's how they begin, and it's, again, kind of talking again about the sweater where you pull the thread. It can turn into that, but there's a long way to go. The law favors finality of judgments, and the law also favors leaving jurors alone and kind of letting them do their service. We want people to show up for jury duty. We don't want them to have to serve in perpetuity, and we don't want them really harassed after the fact. So there are privileges which prevent jurors from testifying. So to be clear, here's the steps that the Trump team needs to take. They need to get to the bottom of this. The judge alerted them to it, didn't have to do that. Very appropriate for Judge Marchand to do that. He alerted the Trump defense team of that and give them enough information to start investigating. They have to get to whether or not this thing is true. And then if it's true, they have to be able to file a motion that's got some legs behind it, that's going to show enough cause to kind of break through some of those privileges that are going to allow the jurors to testify. If there's a leak on that jury and there's some truth to this, then the issue becomes, okay, was there juror misconduct, and did the misconduct result in an unfair deliberations for Mr. Trump? So this is kind of how these things start. Okay. They're a long way from making any hay with this, but this is how it goes. And I think we talked about it, right? That in the days and weeks after the fact, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for these types of issues. This jury was not sequestered. That was an issue. Maybe this is something. Maybe it's nothing. In kind of looking at this issue before you and I talked, I saw a Politico report, and it was a very vague report. I'm not them. That it appears that this could be a troll from who regularly trolls the New York court systems, okay, and their social media. But Donald Trump and his team ought to, and very likely will, very aggressively investigate this.
Okay. Jeremy, I have the letter in front of me.
So I guess he's saying it's a possibility that this was not the cousin or family member of the juror, that somebody possibly just put that out there. So they're going to do an investigation to see if that's the case, if a juror actually put that out there. So that's where the investigation is going to come in. So if the juror did, still, I don't know how that would coerce a guilty verdict if they were already, if the juror already knew that everybody's going to vote guilty. I don't know how that makes the other jurors, because they were already made up their mind. So all he's doing is just putting it out there before it was supposed to be out there. I don't know how that's a mistrial or anything like that, but let's keep going.
You're saying that Judge Juan Merchan, he didn't have to notify Todd Blanche, Trump's lead defense counsel, and or Josh Steinglass, the assistant district attorney, but he did. But that's not court procedure. He didn't have to do that.
I wouldn't think so, no. The prosecutor has a duty to turn over information to a criminal defendant. That information is called Brady information, and I'm sure the viewers are really familiar that that's evidence that shows innocence. This is not Brady information, and the judge is not the prosecutor. So I'm not aware of any duty unless there's a New York statute that requires the court to turn this over, because probably there was a long conversation with the social media folks and the court people.
So could that possibly be an issue? The judge, I think, was an appellate judge, right? It's not the judge that actually resided over the case. So this is an appeals court judge, I guess, that they're saying, and he alerted the Trump team of this, and he didn't have to. And why did he do it? Maybe there's going to be an investigation into that. Maybe this judge is a Trump supporter, and then they can maybe, so because of that, maybe they might allow all this to go away still, allow the verdict to stand, even if there was misconduct. I don't know. Let's keep going.
Deciding, well, what do we do about this, right? And the judge says, well, I'm going to send this guy's lawyer something, and I'm going to send the prosecutor the same thing. And they're within what's called the time that the court has plenary power, which means that the judgment is not final, and the court can still hear this. If we learn about this 2 years from now, it may very well be too late.
All right, live now look there. In New York City, we know the sentencing date for Trump is set for July the 11th. But, Jeremy, we're talking about jurors after the fact. The comment implies that a juror said something about what the verdict might be before the verdict was rendered, and I wouldn't even know, how that could happen. I mean, how could that happen? You could have one juror say, to their relative, this is how I'm feeling, but they don't speak for the whole jury.
No, that's right. And the jury was still out at that point. So one juror who says we're going to go convict him, and that, I mean, look, let's investigate it. Trump's team is going to investigate it. Trump is fortunate that his team has the resources to investigate it, and then let's see what comes of it. But
Exactly. Like, this is why it doesn't. Okay, so if the guy had inside knowledge, the juror, and said, okay, we already decided, but they haven't put forth the verdict yet, that doesn't make sense. So, exactly, if the one guy is going to vote guilty, then all he can do is speak on himself. He wouldn't know about what the other jurors are doing because they haven't done it yet, unless he just assumed that they would based off of the information that was given. Was he believed that they had no choice in the matter? Did he believe that there was no choice but a guilty verdict in the matter based on the parameters that the judge set in this case? That could possibly be the reason he believed that it was going to be a straight guilty verdict. Maybe that's what it was. Let's keep going.
But it sometimes, like I said, it's the start of the thread getting pulled. Sometimes it's something, sometimes it's nothing.
If you've been waiting to apply for disability benefits, don't. Hi, I'm Sarah.
Sorry about that little commercial. Let's keep
you
going.
would imagine whatever the investigation looks like, that they can determine quite quickly, if it is some type of bot or troll on the New York court Facebook page. Lastly, though, what do you think? Alvin Bragg, his team of prosecutors in their office today, when they got this news, are they worried or are they taking it, calmly, so to speak? I mean, should the Bragg team be worried about this?
I think their initial reaction was, insert four-letter word. I mean, they didn't do anything wrong here, and this threatens their conviction. There's nothing worse than working really hard on a case like this for a long, long time, and then something completely out of your control, spinning it out of control. They'll deal with it. They know the law on it, and they'll do what they can. But due process. Mr. Trump's going to have the ability to see if there's something here, and then we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, is this?
So I don't think that this is going to end up being a mistrial or anything. I think everything is going to go through. I think everything's going to go through. I don't think this is going to be a big issue. I don't think it's going to be a mistrial. I might delay the process a little bit because they're doing an investigation. And like they said, the verdict is not final yet. So who knows? We'll see. I could be wrong here. Once again, I probably doubt it. But if you guys think I am, then let me know down in the comments. I appreciate you guys. And thank you so much for tuning in once again. Take care.